Can I tell you something, Mrs. P?
Yeah.
Can I tell you he's doing it again?
Who's doing what?
Elon Musk.
Oh, no.
He's lying, and the media is just fucking gobbling it up. Like little guppies.
What are you lying about now?
He's saying that he's not going to do stuff anymore.
He's
like,
not gonna do
he's
stuff.
like, I'm not going to do politics anymore. I'm Elon Musk. And people have been mean to me, so I'm not going to spend any more money on politics.
Okay.
And I'm not going to spend any more time at the White House.
Sure.
And I'm just going to focus on Tesla. I'm going to work on Tesla and my rockets.
Yeah.
And Starlink and the tunnels.
Yeah.
And then that's what I'm going to do.
Doesn't Starlink have government contracts?
Yeah, so basically he's lying. He's
Yeah.
lying. He's 100% lying. He's
For
lying
sure.
about everything.
Yeah.
And everybody is lining up to try to help him.
Is he just saying he's leaving because he's so bad on camera and so unlikable that everyone hates him?
I can tell you what's happening.
Okay.
And I don't know this for a fact.
This-
but
allegedly.
This is me. It's not even alleged.
Opinion.
This is my opinion from what I've seen from over the last few years of Elon in general. And just like looking at his demeanor and the clips and these different things.
Sure.
I think Elon has brought his dosage down a little bit. I think he is off the high. Okay. I'm not saying he's not high.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's off the feeling.
Got it.
Right? He's not riding it. He's not Elon with the chainsaw and the sunglasses. I have become meme. He's not that. He's right now, he's been doing a lot less.
Yeah.
He's been hiding back. And I think what happened is I think some people got near him and they had him like sit back for a little bit. Maybe they dried him out for a day.
Yeah.
And then they said, here's some charts.
Yeah.
Here's some analytics.
Okay.
Here's some Q1 stats
All right.
for your companies,
Yeah.
right? And then they brought in some PR people, and the PR people were like, shut the fuck up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he kind of did. He's had like a couple weeks here where he hasn't really said, for him, I mean,
Yeah.
he said some crazy shit.
Sure.
But nothing like that pops a rating as
I
much as
feel
he's
like
done.
I haven't seen news about him and his tomfoolery since, was it the Michigan thing? Where
So
he
that was when he started dialing it back after
that's
that.
because it was a huge loss.
It was a huge loss.
He put a lot of money into trying to win a judge, right?
Yeah, it wasn't Michigan. It was Wisconsin.
It was Wisconsin.
Because remember, he
okay.
put the cheese hat on.
Got it.
They kept showing. My favorite is there's an image of him with the cheese head on.
Loves a hat, that guy.
But he's like in that with the giant American flag, and he's like holding a microphone. Because here's the one thing I will give Elon. It's the only thing I'm going to give him, which is a negative from his perspective. But the one thing that I like, yes, has Carnegie and did these other different people build massive public works? Yes, they did do that.
Yeah, they did that.
What has Elon given us? Himself dressed up like sad fat Wario.
Yeah.
So that way, when a news article is bad, it's like, boom, sad fat Wario right there.
There's a lot of images of him looking real bad.
Just real bad all the time. And so
Yeah.
you can always just like, hey, if I'm running a newspaper, if I'm running a news website and I need to go, because there's photo editors who they go in and they're like, okay, I want to show, like there was recently a Rolling Stone article about Josh Hawley. You know Josh Hawley? Senator from Missouri.
Okay.
Famous for running away on January 6th.
Okay.
But then saying it wasn't a big deal. But then they were like, here's a video of you running like a scared little bitch.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a picture of him being like, whoo, into the cameras.
Yeah.
And the subtitle, it was something along the lines of like, Missouri senator begs for FEMA assistance after all these people died of tornadoes.
Yeah.
And Trump has shut down FEMA.
Because of the Doge cuts caused by Elon Musk.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yes. Yes, that's what we're getting with. Okay, so, but the photo editor, the picture of him being like, oh, of Josh Hawley's face, that was purposely picked to like make you think he's reacting to that. That headline when it could have been from a different time.
Sure.
You pointed out to me recently there was an image of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
And one thing that's been fun is people keep posting her old face and hair.
The
Because
old face.
Yeah,
Woo!
because she's using federal money now to get extensions.
Yeah, plastic surgery.
Yeah, plastic
fillers.
surgery extension. She's had some.
She looks like a whole different person.
Yeah, if you go back and you look at a picture of Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know what we're doing right now?
What?
I'm giving work to Mr. Third because I expect images right here. Everything I describe.
You got to do the before and
Timestamp,
after.
just pictured. Boom, right there.
Yeah.
Boom, right there. Okay? Show me. Wait, watch this. Watch this. Ready?
Yeah.
Fat Wario Elon. Boom.
Magic.
You better work, bitch. Now.
In the words of Britney Spears.
Yes, in the words of Britney Spears.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Throw her up there. There's a video of Britney Spears dancing around with knives. I want it playing next to me for the rest of this podcast.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to
put it up. Put it up. And anything you don't, just so you know, Mr. Third, I know you're sitting over there. You can hear him laughing in the background. He thinks this is all a big joke, but it's not. I will fire him. Out of a cannon. But no, I expect all of these. And if they're not there, the comments will tell you. So, no, we're having fun. We're having more fun than Elon.
Everybody has more fun than Elon.
I think everybody does have more fun than Elon.
Especially his kids, because they don't have to be around him.
I hate this man so much. Elon is now he's starting to finally feel the backlash. Yeah. I think because you know what it is in ancient Rome. Let's go ahead. Let's open a tab on this one.
Oh boy!
In ancient Rome, when a general would win a glorious battle, right, the general would have what's called a triumph.
Sure.
And in a triumph, they would get in a chariot and they would ride into Rome with all the spoils of their battles in front of them, the slaves they caught, the elephants, the treasure, the booty, all these different things.
Wheat.
All of it. The big carts of wheat. Yeah. Back in the day, a big cart of wheat.
You got a big cart of wheat right there.
You're going to get you're getting some good for them on that one, okay? But anyway, actually dome. It would be dome. You'd be getting good dome. The Romans invented domes. Okay. Anyway, that's a stupid pun. That's the dumbest blowjob pun I've ever told. The Parthenon. So, the Pantheon. I need to get back on topic here. When the Roman generals would have their triumph, there would be two people on the chariot.
Okay.
The Roman general would be driving it, and standing behind him would be, I believe it was a slave or a servant or somebody, and they would hold the crown of laurels over their head.
Okay.
And they're supposed to whisper into the general's ear, remember, you are only mortal. Remember, you are only mortal. Remember, you are only mortal. And here's the thing about our billionaires.
There's not somebody whispering in their ears.
Nobody's telling them shit. And that's where Elon fucked up. That's why Elon ended up on ketamine with his stupid fucking goggles and his stupid hat waving around a fucking chainsaw yelling, I have become meme, because there's no culture in a white South African's head to remind them that this too will end, Elon. That it doesn't matter if you're the richest man in the world. It doesn't matter how much power you have. It doesn't matter what you feel you're building. Eventually, you yourself will die. And this goes out even to that other guy who thinks he can live forever. Was it Brian Johnson, I think he is? The creepy one?
The blood
The blood guy?
The
one who keeps taking his son's blood and I'm going to keep my dad young too. Oh. And he's trying to, they all think that because of the internet, they think they're going to be forever. They think they're not going to age.
Yeah.
They think they're never going to die.
It's such a crazy thought that they think that, especially through the internet, they'll live forever when everything is a 24-hour news cycle. And I don't remember anything from yesterday.
No, but also, like, when you go back to the internet, like, every once in a while, about once or twice a year, my TikTok feed booms me by one person.
Okay.
It is overly attached girlfriend. Do you remember that meme?
No.
Mr. Third, just write down the timestamp. Overly attached girlfriend. Do you remember this meme?
Yeah.
It's the lady looking like, like it's like this you can look it up.
Okay.
But she has a TikTok account.
Oh, I have seen that before.
And so it was a meme from back. It's a very early meme. She makes a face, I think, in a YouTube video. And it goes like, this meme, her, Bad Luck Brian, all these different memes from back in the day, they were everywhere.
Sure.
They were everywhere. They had a cultural zeitgeist that was incredible. And you know what happens?
What?
About once or twice a year, she shows up in my TikTok feed and just like, yeah, the internet's weird. Things change. I have a
grown
job.
Up now.
I'm a grown. She was grown then. It's just one of those things where it's just like to remind people. I just keep thinking about, I am Ozymandias, look upon my works and tremble. It's a famous, I think it's a poem or it's a story about this statue that someone finds in a desert. Mm-hmm. And it's about this crazy statue of I'm this great, terrible leader, and look at all these things I have done. And it's literally staring at an empty desert.
Yeah.
Everything they ever did has been turned to dust and ash. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, because time happens. You can have your effect, those ripples. But like a guy like Elon has had this weird belief. I think he got so high on his own supply that he has had this weird belief that between his spending and his control and all these different industries that he believes that he is on the top of, that the people in those industries are like, you are not.
Yeah. He does not make great cars.
You don't make great cars.
Yeah, they're not even doing well right now.
No, all that different stuff. All of that, he feels like this great conqueror.
Yeah.
And now that the high and the tint has worn off a little bit, now, over the last few days, it's quite clear to me that he is on a PR run. And in that PR run, he is saying that he's stepping back.
Yeah,
because
he's trying
to save his ego a little bit. But it's a combination of save his ego and also save his brand. Because the one thing, I think a lot of people have been confused about a few things. Number one, Elon Musk is a virulent racist.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a huge racist. And he's always been mad about the ending of apartheid in South Africa. And it's very clear, as we've talked about with his grandfather on the episode about race, Elon Musk's racist grandfather, virulent racist, who raised his mom, who in the divorce, Elon went with his mom.
Yep.
And his mom is a giant psycho racist. Elon is close with her. This has always been there. He pretended to have liberal leanings. He pretended to care about diversity. He pretended to care about LGBTQ and all this other different stuff.
Yeah.
Until he got to a point where he's like, cool, I don't have to fake it anymore.
Yeah.
And then the guy we've been getting, that is the real Elon.
Yeah.
That is always all these other
people.
He
keeps denying it, and this is the thing. I know we've talked about this before, but it frustrates me to no end. Is like when he threw up that Roman salute, they all called it.
Yeah.
Like, just if that's how you think, if that's the horrible person you are, just be it at this point. Why do they keep trying to dog whistle?
Yeah.
I don't understand what the point of dog whistling is at this moment in time.
Because Elon's also a coward. He's a nerdy coward who has no true confidence. All of his confidence is fake. And that same thing goes through all these other different guys who are in this entire circle of them. Is like none of them are confident enough to be a full-on open virulent Nazi. And also, when they look at those guys, they don't want those guys on their side.
Yeah.
They want to do Nazi shit without actually having to go to the rally.
Yeah.
They want to have Nazi policies.
They want to have Nazi haircuts, Andrew.
Yeah, but they want to do all of that shit without having to pretend. Like, listen, the one thing Trump will do, Trump will bring Kid Rock on.
Yeah.
Trump will have a Trump rally. Have you ever noticed that Trump has never had a Kid Rock concert? You ever noticed that? Trump doesn't go to the fucking truck rallies. He has the truck rallies come to Trump.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to gild that fucking pile of shit and make those people feel like they are going to be blessed in this golden age.
Yeah.
Versus guys like Elon with his pipelines and all this other bullshit that he's been pulling. He has been desperately trying to figure out a way that he can still do his eugenics pipeline without ever actually having to be associated with the failures of the past and the lesser than people, because a lot of like Klans people, a lot of these fucking Nazis and especially internet Nazis, all this stuff, when you go see them, they're fucking losers.
Yeah.
They're losers who need desperately to blame everyone else for their fucking problems. Yeah. And so this pivot that he's been doing right now has been pretty fucking incredible. And because one, he's lying.
Yes.
And two, so many people are trying desperately to help him with this lie.
It's crazy.
So that way they can get another shot at his money.
Yeah.
Which is what. So let me play you the first one here.
Oh no, I have to watch a clip?
Yeah, you're going to have to watch a clip.
Gross.
Because, I want you to hear it.
I hate this Zoom call.
Oh, no. You're going to like this
Can I have my camera off during this?
You can have your camera. Your camera's off the entire time.
I know.
Your camera is never on. All right? So this is the first one for you. Ready?
Okay, ready.
I think in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
So when he said, I think I've done enough, you can't hear it from the shitty laptop speakers. But this is him. He's doing a Zoom call into a massive conference. Yeah. So Elon's on a giant screen. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a person sitting on a stage in front of a massive theater full of people. When he said, I've done enough, the whole room laughed, babe. The whole room laughed. Hey, you want to dress like an adult and still have walking around money? You need to check out Quince. Quince has all the things you actually want to wear this spring, like organic cotton silk polos, European linen beach shorts, and pants that work for everything, from backyard hangs to nice dinners. The best part is that everything is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find from similar brands. You'll be looking great and saving tons of money. And guess what, guys? If you're watching this on the YouTube, you're watching me this entire time wear a Quince shirt. That's right, I'm wearing the Flow Knit Breeze Henley tee. I got it right here in the burgundy. I think it looks really great.
Aubergine.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
And then also, I received this Flow Knit Performance half zip in the heather green. I love them so much. I love the feel of them, and they're just so nice, and they came directly to our front door. They have a lot of options for men, women, and just whoever you're looking for right now. Quince cuts out the middleman and works directly with top artisans to bring you incredible stuff. Their factories only use premium fabrics and finishes, along with safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. It's quality, and it's conscientious. Elevate your closet with Quince. Go to quince.com/TMT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/TMT for too many tabs to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/TMT.
Oh,
And the look on his face is a man who is like, for the first time, 'cause they said, remember when Elon went on stage with Dave Chappelle back in 2022?
Oh, yes.
They said that he was like, people had to talk him almost off a ledge. Because like that night is what broke him.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things they said. It's like he felt so fucking like humiliated by that. And that moment, like this is doubling down again, which is him being like, I've done enough. And it's like, well, yeah. Of course you think that. You've gotten SpaceX contracts put into trade negotiations. You've used Doge to cut programs left and right because you were trying to hurt as many people that do not fit into your eugenics program as possible.
Yep.
You've destroyed, decimated, and gutted any federal agency that was currently doing investigations into the myriad of crimes that you, Elon Musk, and your companies have done to both the American federal taxpayer and to the American people.
Yep.
You have cut the EPA and other organizations so that way they won't investigate the fact that you are ruining Memphis with your Grok AI fucking server farms.
Yeah, their windows shake and they don't have clean water because
Yes,
of him.
they're destroying shit down there. You have carte blanche to do whatever the fuck you want. Of course you've done enough. It only cost you $250 million.
And he's not going to stop. He's just going to do it quietly so people don't get mad and blame him.
The difference is he thought he could be Caligula.
Wait, I have
Or
to...
Nero.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Real quick. You just showed me that video.
Yeah.
Of that weird man saying that. And I need to tell you, the first thing is I thought he looked like Zorg. Do you know who Zorg is?
From
Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah. No, he is. Yeah, he's going for Zorg.
Look, Mr. Third, I'm going to need a Zorg picture of Gary Oldman from The Fifth
Zorg?
Element.
Yeah.
Added so people can see. That's it. I was like, oh, that's just Zorg talking.
Yes.
I've done enough.
You know what's funny, actually, with Zorg? You know, here's another billionaire.
Okay.
Who you may not have heard of. You know of Lucky Palmer?
No.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. Third just looked over. Lucky Palmer. Go ahead and look him up right now because he just did a 60 Minutes interview.
Okay.
Lucky Palmer invented, he was one of the people behind the Oculus Rift, which later became the Meta Oculus, which is the VR headset.
Oh, the dust collectors.
Yes, the one that everybody bought, that people bought and then set to the side because they realized they needed to have a Facebook account to use them. But he helped with that. But then, you know what he did? He took that money and he immediately pivoted into making AI weapons. He's huge into drones and all these different things. But are you looking at a picture of him right now?
Yeah.
Okay, look at that chin thing.
Yeah, you know what? The first picture I see of him, I'm like, oh, it's other version. Like, what's the other when you're in a different? Oh my God, my brain. He looks like Theo Von, but he looks like Theo Von if we were an alternate universe.
Okay, no, I'm going to say he looks like Theo Von if Theo Von didn't pretend to be stupid. Because Theo Von pretends to be stupid.
Yeah.
Theo Von, for those of you guys, but real quick, okay. We're going to get back to Elon. Hold on. I just want to say one thing about Theo Von.
Clash trader, liar, faker.
All that's true, yes. But also, Theo Von is actually incredibly intelligent, and he's playing a character that is dumb.
Yes.
Theo Von is Larry the Cable Guy for the Instagram generation. And when you think about Larry the Cable Guy is a character. Larry the Cable Guy actually is not even from the South. I think he's from the upper Midwest. That accent is fake. Everything about Larry the Cable Guy is fake. He was a stand-up comedian. I think actually he might be from New York. I'm not sure. Nebraska. But he was a New York comic who would get up and do classic Larry the Cable Guy, classic 80s style comedy for a very, very, very long time. And one day he did this character, Larry the Cable Guy. That's what got him tied in with Jeff Foxworthy. And he started literally putting on a costume. Yeah. Theo Von is from the South. He is from, I believe, Louisiana. And he has an actual accent. But the thing is about Theo Von is incredibly intelligent. Yes. I think last year alone, his tour brought in $50 million. That's just his tour. You can't be stupid and get that type of fucking money. Yeah. Everything that he's been doing has been calculated and timed, okay? And every time he makes any sort of statement about anything, I just want to remind you guys with this image that Mr. Third is about to put up on the screen of Theo Von having brunch with the fucking Kushners.
The Kushners who want to build a holiday resort in Gaza?
Yes. That one.
I just looked at his wiki page. He went to the University of New Orleans, got his bachelor's degree in urban planning.
Yeah.
So
real idiot industry over there. Urban planning.
His mom went to Duke.
Yeah.
His mom went to Duke.
Okay, so that we hate him even more.
Yeah, this is
my mom went to University of North Carolina. Okay, now you tell me he has Duke ties?
Oh no.
No, but in general, with all these different guys, when it comes to that side of things,
Wait a minute. But Elon's pretending to be smart, but he's dumb.
Yes. Everybody's pretending to be the opposite of what they are.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Not you.
I know I need to fake something. I need to pretend. What do I pretend about?
Okay, so you can pretend that you're not a ginger. No, gingers are cool right now.
Yeah, we went through this last episode.
Oh, I'm sorry. Redheaded persons.
Red velvet cupcake. Okay? All right. No, hold on. No, so Lucky Palmer.
Yes, that
which
guy.
Which is where we are.
Yep.
Okay? Because Lucky... Yes, he has that Theo because they both do the mullet thing.
Yeah.
He always, the whole thing with Lucky Palmer is he always wears a Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. And his reasoning for it is because he's trying to be the cool guy. Look at me, I'm not like the other billionaires. I'm chill. Oh yeah, no, whatever. But at the end of the day, he still only really gives a shit about money.
Didn't those Tiki Torture guys wear Hawaiian shirts?
The Bugaloo Boys.
Yes.
Bugaloo Boys were accelerationists who wanted to start Civil War II electric boogaloo. That's their whole thing. That's a different thing. Stop that. But no, his reasoning is the mullet, this stupid chin strap that he has. Yeah. And the reason why I bring it up is because Zorg has a stupid soul patch thing.
Yeah, soul patch.
But Zorg is also a weapons dealer.
Yes,
the same as Lucky Palmer. Lucky Palmer is a big backer of Ukraine in the war against Russia. Because even though Lucky Palmer himself is MAGA and all these different things, because it's been a great testing ground for him to roll out AI weapons and to test them against a, quote, modern military.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
So, but also, doesn't Elon do weapons? Because isn't that like one of his things?
Part of the thing was Starlink. Starlink has been
Stargate is a show.
Stargate is a show.
Got it.
Great show. Amazing show. I should watch Stargate.
Okay.
I should watch Stargate instead of my phone sometimes. I'd probably be better off.
Oh, you'd sleep so much better.
I would sleep so much better. Anyway, stop it. You're getting me off.
Back to Zorg.
Look at me. Okay. So, Lucky Palmer.
Okay. Back to Lucky Palmer.
He just had a 60 Minutes interview where in that he keeps talking about, he's like, well, we got to build AI weapons. We have to build the Terminators from Terminator because someone else is just going to build them. And that's his whole reasoning and his logic that he and a lot of these different billionaires do. So to tie him with Elon rolls out Starlink, which is everywhere. And one of the big ways Starlink was displayed was, again, in the Ukrainian war, was Ukraine was using Starlink on the front lines to be able to still do communications and to still be able to access the drones and Wi-Fi and all those other different things. Yeah. using the internet programs.
Sure.
And so that was a part of it there. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Starlink, again, Elon's being like, I'm stepping back. The Starlink is in all of the contracts.
Yeah.
And all of the trade talks.
Yeah.
But also, at the same time, the day that Elon was like, I am stepping back, I'm not going to do stuff about politics anymore.
I've done enough.
It's been me. I'm going to focus more on Tesla. I need Tesla because he needs Tesla stock to rise.
Yes.
The whole thing is Tesla stock needs to stay over a certain number because Elon Musk is actually a paper tiger billionaire for a lot of things.
Yeah, and they had a car sale at the White House.
Yeah, all those different things. All these weird moments that have happened with Elon. He has to keep popping a rating among his investors and keep people to keep it above a certain point because he's so leveraged on his stock. He's borrowed a lot of money against it to do things like buy Twitter, to do things like buy these different things. And so that way he can still show power in the market.
Okay.
The same day he was like, I'm not doing as much. That's when Trump stepped forward and said, oh, we're going to roll out a big, beautiful golden dome.
A dome?
A dome.
What are we doing a dome for?
So the Golden Dome is based on the Iron Dome.
Okay.
So the Iron Dome is a concept in Israel of a defensive rocket dome. So it's not actually building a huge shield over the country, but it's the idea that you're going to have these things that shoot rockets out of the sky.
Yeah.
Okay? So if somebody like Iran builds an ICBM or North Korea that has nuclear payload at it, they can shoot it at the United States, and then we'll be able to catch a missile will catch the missile.
Yeah.
And they'll take it out.
Okay.
It's a concept that was rolled out back in the 1980s.
Sure.
Under a program called Star Wars by Ronald fucking Reagan.
Oh, fuck, I hate Ronald Reagan so much.
I know. But they're rolling it out again. But this time, under Trump, they're calling it Golden Dome. Because they point to it. Because in Israel, when there's been rocket attacks, they have video of the rockets being shot down, a lot of times using American weapons.
Yeah.
However, in this case, because it would be ICBMs, which are intercontinental ballistic missiles, you would need to have a spacefaring level weapon.
Okay.
So who do we know that builds rockets that can go into space and who currently has satellites?
So what you're saying is right now Zorg and Goldfinger from the Austin Powers movie.
GoldenEye.
No, Austin Powers. I love gold.
Which one is that?
Whatever.
Goldfinger's James Bond.
Goldfinger's the real James Bond
Okay.
one. Now,
Goldmember.
So Zorg and Goldmember right now are
Yeah.
coming up with an idea where they're going to have satellite missiles in space.
Yes.
That are going to be aimed at America.
Yeah.
Where Trump will have the button or Elon could have the button.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, if someone shoots at us, we'll shoot the missile. Or if there's a podcast we don't like, we could shoot a missile at it.
Yeah.
Because it's satellite.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? That all American citizens would then have satellites projected upon them from space?
It would be a giant sword of Damocles that hangs over the entire country.
Yeah.
At the low cost of $175 billion.
What?
Which
we got
is
that
why
kind of money because we had to cut Medicaid.
Yeah, and which is why we also had to cut
The national parks and the library.
and the $4 billion of LIHEAP funding for
LIHEAP
seniors to not freeze to death in the winter.
Or to get overheated in the summer because they do also provide air conditioning for people that live in Arizona and the Southwest.
All these cuts are
Don't need those.
No,
I want missiles pointed at my house.
yeah, but all of these cuts are so then they can claim they have the money available to fund these other projects.
Yeah. Evil
things,
projects.
For things that we've never actually needed. Because I want to point out something about the Star Wars project.
What's that?
Because I'm 41 years old. I just want to point something out. An intercontinental ballistic missile has never been shot at the United States. There's been one attack on the U.S. mainland that was scary enough to send us into war, and it was using American planes that we only shot out of the sky one of the four. 9/11.
I was going to make a joke that I forgot what it was.
Oh, okay,
but
gotcha.
it felt inappropriate.
I saw you making a face, and I was like, "Did you forget 9/11?" There was a moment.
I'm glad that you came through just my face. That you knew what the joke was going to be.
Your face that no one can see.
I know.
And so it was just me. So now I'm insane, and then you made me say it. So thank you.
I know.
You evil monster.
I know.
No, but in all of these different cases, it would be much cheaper to just try to find a world of peace where we wouldn't be going to war.
Yeah.
But instead, all of these rich psychopaths who like building weapons of destruction have come together and had a conversation where, listen, we can all build our big toys, and also these poor people can fucking die, and also we can build towards the ultimate war that we've all been warned about from every form of science fiction possible, because we will have GoldenEye level weapons pointed at the United States.
They read those books and were like, these bad guys really get it.
Yeah.
The rest of us were like, let's all avoid these specific bad guy behaviors. And they were like, no, I do want to become a giant worm of my father.
Yeah, I do want to become the worm from Dune. They all read the story of Leto, and they went, no, we all gotta be Dune. We're all gonna do.
I like how I never read that book, but
I know,
you've explained it to me enough where I understand that a son became a worm, and then he reigned terror for millennia or something.
Yes, that is how.
To teach people a lesson about voting better.
Yeah, it's 100%. In Dune 2, in Dune Messiah, there is a moment. Hold on. In Dune Messiah, there is a moment where they literally compare Paul Atreides, the main character who's played by Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
They're like, man, you did a lot better than that warlord guy named Hitler back from old history. And they're like, yeah, Hitler was just a warlord.
Yeah.
And it actually was kind of eye-opening because we're starting to see that more and more with like people who talk about World War II, and they talk about Hitler and stats and looking at like the Nazis in general, and they're starting to decouple the horror because there aren't the people who are around.
They're not alive anymore.
They're the Holocaust survivors and veterans of World War II who are like, no, shut up, you're missing the fucking lesson.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that when I was growing up, we went, I forget what museum we went to. We went to a museum and there was a Holocaust survivor there who spoke to us and like that had the tattoos and explained what it was about. Yeah. And like, it was part of my education. Also, I had family members who were very old, but had been in World War II to like tell me about things.
But it was also too, when people would talk about World War II, it was a bigger sense of it, more than I played Call of Duty, World at War.
Yeah.
Like that's again, it's been commodified and it's been memeified.
Yeah.
And all these different things. Now, speaking of Nazis, let's get back to Elon. Okay?
Come on,
because no, shut up. Okay? Because can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I did do, when we did the Elon Musk grandpa episode, I have a deep dive research about Elon.
Yeah.
That is now out of date because so much has happened since then.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
last year. But I had this very big research Bible about Elon, and I was like, someday I'll get to this.
Yeah.
And not happening. This is about as close as I think I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
Is just this week alone of him pretending that he's not doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And watching people like the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, released an article being like, Elon's stepping back, y'all. And it's like, to this point, like, I'm at a point with the Washington Post, which used to be a paper of record in my family, like a thing that we really like followed through because of Watergate and other things.
Yeah.
Fuck that paper.
Yeah.
There's all these different organizations that I have now trust less, and not because of the old feelings of conspiracy theorists and things like that when it comes to mainstream media, because now more and more we know who owns them.
Yeah.
And more they're openly stepping and putting their finger on the thumb.
Yeah.
Of how this reporting is coming out, how the editorializing is coming out, how the headlines are being written.
Yeah.
The article can say one thing and the headline will say something that is clearly designed to say something completely different. Speaking of which, though, let's hear more from Elon. And this time, it was Elon crying.
No.
Hold on. This is him blaming the media for everything. It's Elon on CNBC.
Is he standing in front of his Tesla cars?
He's sitting in a room full of Teslas. And this was the same day as that other interview he did. Because, again, it was a media blitz that day.
Can I tell you something really funny real quick before
Yes.
you make me watch another video of Elon?
Sure. After 7 nights of eating cereal out of a mug in a row, make some healthy, simple meals with Factor. Factor sends chef-prepared meals right to your door. Heat them up for just 2 minutes and dinner is served. With 45 weekly menu options across a huge range of dietary preferences, no matter your lifestyle, there's something you'll love.
I love, number one, the convenience. It's so simple and easy. I pre-order, the food's here, I microwave it. Recently I had a beef bolognese, to die for. It was so good.
Yeah. You can even add on breakfast and on-the-go lunches, guilt-free snacks, desserts to your order. You really like the smoothies.
I love the smoothies.
And if you are listening to this and you want to get started, you can get started at factormeals.com/toomany50off and use code toomany50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code toomany50off at factormeals.com/toomany50off for 50% plus free shipping.
So I was driving to go get groceries the other day, and they're building like a new. There's some new building getting built not too far from here.
Yeah.
And the landscaping guys were outside putting in all the landscaping. So
Yeah.
like the nice planters and the bricks and blah, blah. And as I was at a stoplight, so I was looking at the landscaping. I love looking at landscaping.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the way they're setting the landscaping. But then I became completely disgusted, but yet in awe, because the back of a Cybertruck was filled with soil. And all of these guys were shoveling dirt out of the back of a Cybertruck to put into these planters they had built. And I thought to myself, someone owns a landscaping company who also owns a Cybertruck. Ugh. And there's some money has gone wrong somewhere that they have to use a personal use vehicle to give to their team of landscapers.
No, I can tell you what happened.
Tell me what happened.
I can tell you what happened completely. He's trying to write the Cybertruck off. The landscaper's trying to write the Cybertruck off.
Yeah, it's a business
He's
expense.
100%. He's like, if I can get you guys to use the Cybertruck for 6 months, I can then sell it to myself.
Yep.
And I can write the entire, I can devalue the entire truck.
Yep.
Because landlords do this all the time. Every landlord, when I used to work at that bank and we had a lot of landlords, every single one of them drove the most massive Ford F-150 with leather seats you've ever fucking seen. Because, the renter, they broke a door, so I need to go drive a new door over.
They got their
and then sign it off.
sign it off.
Yeah, they had high beams on, aimed right in the back of our tiny little hatchback.
Yeah.
All that different bullshit. Anyway, here is the man who writes off everything, Elon Musk, saying that everything is the media's fault. And go.
Try to claim that I was a Nazi because of some random hand gesture at a rally where all I said was that my heart goes out to you, and I was talking about space travel. And yet, the legacy media promoted that as though that was a deliberate Nazi gesture, when in fact every politician, any public speaker who's spoken for any length of time has made the exact same gesture, and yet there's still people out there, and I've never harmed a single person.
No, listen, you know what, Elon?
Okay.
Okay, number one, the legacy media reported that it wasn't that.
Yes,
the
I know.
whole time.
I know. The legacy
They made me think
media,
I was crazy.
The one he's complaining about was the one, including the Anti-Defamation League. We're like, it was a random. That was
Oh, it was crazy.
Whoa.
It definitely wasn't that thing that it definitely looked like.
It's crazy that your autism just makes your arm do that. It was
Yeah.
like I've seen every excuse.
Well, I heard there's going to be a registry now.
Hold on, real fast. Real fast. Just for those guys who don't know what arm gesture we're talking about, because you were under a rock on January 20th.
Don't you do it.
We're talking about this arm gesture right here. This one right here, Mr. Third. Oh, man, that's crazy. You found a full GIF of him doing it, and it's a motion GIF. Oh
my God.
Oh, look at that motion GIF go. But anyway.
This episode's coming out on Monday.
Oh, man. Anyway, this is why everyone should listen to the podcast on Apple Podcast or on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, and then give us 5 stars on your favorite podcast listening place.
Like and subscribe.
Because listen, if more people, if the audio is number one, then I don't have to keep throwing tricks like this to keep the YouTube engagement up.
Got it.
Because that's why Mr. Third has to do all this editing, y'all. Okay.
Or hear me out.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe and comment on YouTube and share with all of your friends.
Yeah.
So that we can keep Mr. Third employed. We're helping.
Yeah.
We're helping the economy.
You know what? Yeah.
More than Elon. He doesn't pay anybody.
Yeah, but let's talk about Elon again, because I know that's what you want to do. It's him claiming the legacy media, like the Washington Post, like CNBC, like all these other different orgs who fell over themselves to be like, no, that's not what he meant. He said his heart goes out to you. And it was like, no, it was the people who said you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Because the people saw you do Nazi shit, you fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, inside of this, he starts being like, anyone who speaks for an extended, he tried doing monkeys with a typewriter. You know that there's that saying of like if you get a room full of chimpanzees and you give them all typewriters, and you give them an infinite amount of time, eventually they'll write Shakespeare.
Yes.
That's his thing. He's like, eventually, any public speaker will just be like, and just throw it.
Yeah.
I want to tell you something, Elon. I've been speaking in front of crowds for 23 years. Probably even more.
Yeah, probably more.
But 23 years as a professional stand-up comedian. Okay, maybe not professional the entire time, but as a stand-up comedian, I have thousands of hours being in front of crowds of people. And not once have I unintentionally just thrown that salute out there, you fucking psycho. Much less turned around and did it a fucking again. While an old man in the crowd did it back at me, which nobody else in the media ever fucking pointed out to you.
Yeah.
And how enthused, how Nazis, you're talking about the legacy media. Nick Fuentes was like, that dude threw it with gusto. You can hear your heart as you slap in. Yeah. I mean, my heart goes out to you. Everybody pointed out, Elon, in the past, when you pretended that you cared about diversity, when you would post about how Tesla had the #1 rating from stuff like the Equal Human Rights Campaign and others for LGBTQIA+, all of the alphabet mafia letters. Mm-hmm. You would stand there in your little too tight shirt before you got the Zempies that didn't work. Yeah, Trump called it the fat shot. We knew we were talking about you. You would do like this. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. That's how you did it. You made a little sign with your fan. You put both your hands together.
How uwu of you.
Uwu. Instead, what'd you do? You stood there and you threw the arm. And now here you are. People weren't starting to forget, but it was just there. It was one of those things where if this is how I know, as he was getting deeper into the PR, that he's not listening to his people again.
Nope.
Because the PR people will be like, hey, and just do yourself a favor. Just don't even mention the Nazi shit.
Yeah.
Don't even mention the Nazi shit. And he was like,
I can't.
No, this interview's going really well.
Yeah.
The Nazi shit. And then now here we are. What do? You opened up a whole new path, Elon, for me to talk about how you're a fucking Nazi. And then at the end of that clip, you said, I've never hurt anyone. You've killed millions of people. You haven't done it yet. But with your cuts for USAID, with the cuts for Doge, with the funding of Donald Trump, with pushing his campaign, with how you've twisted Twitter, with all of the different things that you have been doing, if Elon Musk, if we had It's a Wonderful Life, you wouldn't be in it. Because the angel would have shown the fuck up, and he would have been like, nah, man, jump. Fucking jump off this goddamn bridge. Holy shit. You know how many banks are about to go under because you and your best old fucking boiled Golden Dome showers are going to fucking come together and hit us, Eiffel Tower us on both ends? And now you're trying to claim, actually, I'm not actually doing what I'm doing. Actually, I'm taking a step back. Fuck you.
Also, people have already died.
Yeah.
Because he cut FEMA with Doge.
Yes.
Doge cut FEMA, and then 19 people passed away from tornadoes.
National Weather Service is actually 28.
Oh, okay.
It's 28 now.
Oh,
because they're cutting overnight coverage.
Yeah.
And so people have died, but the numbers are going to keep going up.
Yeah, and when people start freezing to death because LIHEAP cuts.
Yes.
And when people start dying of preventable diseases because of the Medicaid cuts.
Yep.
That's all. And he's going to be like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Well, number one, you already did it, bitch.
Yeah.
You already did it.
You threw that shit before you walked in the room, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. And this is the thing about conservatism in general. They do this shit now, and then they wait. It's all of these fuckers. Elon did this very heavily. Mm-hmm. It's all about when you're already in power, when you're already rich, it's about running out the clock.
Yeah.
Because eventually you know, if you run a fucking asbestos mine, eventually you know those kids will fucking die of mesothelioma if you just wait them out. You know, in the future, if you're dumping shit into a fucking community, just wait. Because the estate can't keep the lawsuit going. And that's what Elon is doing right now. And it's exactly what he did. During the fucking last administration, there were crimes that he had clearly done. Mm-hmm. There were investigations going. And he was like, all I have to do is make sure that this administration doesn't continue. And that's exactly what he did. He spent $44 billion on buying Twitter to change the algorithm, to change the conversations. The way people talk now, I want you to go back and look at how people fucking talked in 2021. The weird Nazi shit that people are pushing now are solely being pushed because of the normalization on fucking Twitter. And because of the normalization on Twitter, that normalization then spread to Facebook and across Meta. And Mark Zuckerberg came out and said straight up, I'm going to copy what Elon's doing. Because of that, that same shit happened over on YouTube. Because of that, that same shit has spread across the rest of fucking social media. And now we have an even more stratified and broken social media that has spread even deeper. Elon Musk has personally put his thumb on the scale for fucking evil. He is an evil man. And he is a terrible fucking person. And he is mad because no one whispered into his ear that, number one, he is mortal, and he has never listened to anybody who said that this is a bad fucking idea, because he believes, just like all these other fuckers, in that abundance gospel. That he, as a rich person, just like Lucky Palmer, just like Mark Zuckerberg, and all these other brain-broken fucking billionaires, believe that because they won at capitalism, that means they're the best at everything the fuck else. And I'm here to tell you, Elon, we know from Azalea Banks that you're bad at a lot of fucking shit, okay? Because Azalea Banks, listen, she may be crazy, but when she's on my side, she's right, and everybody fucking knows it, okay? You're a weird dude who can't stop mailing cum to people because supposedly, you can't actually have intercourse anymore. Allegedly.
I don't know.
And I'm going to allege on that one. I will not allege that you were a Nazi, because you are. You're a fascist, and you're a bag of shit, and you're a racist, and you're a transphobe, and you've ruined the lives of millions of people, and honestly, you ruin my weekend a lot of the times. Sometimes I'll be doing just fine. And I'll be driving with my kid to a fucking playground, and then a Cybertruck comes down the opposite side of the highway. I'm like, God damn!
Oh my God. That green one we saw ruined our whole afternoon.
There's a fucking, it had a wrap.
Ugh.
You know? Can I tell you, we got stuck behind a minivan the other day.
I called the number on it, and I said, go fuck yourselves.
We got stuck behind an old minivan the other day that had a Trump sticker on it.
Oh,
and another sticker,
I forgot about
one end, it had a Trump 2024 sticker, and then on the other side, it had a bumper sticker that said, I heart the Constitution. That, I was like, that's insane. That's stupid. But I didn't get mad. And then we drove a little further, and then I saw a Cybertruck, and I was like, fuck you. I just couldn't.
Can I tell you something funny about bumper stickers real
Sure.
quick?
Tell me.
It's not about Elon Musk. When we were driving, and we saw that it was a beat up,
it was an
very
old
old minivan.
Old minivan.
Clearly not taken well care of.
Yeah.
And it had like the Trump, and I laughed because it had Trump, but no vice president named under it.
Yeah, it just said Trump 2024.
They were like, we don't like anybody else. We're big Trump people, but nobody else. And then it said, I love the Constitution across the bottom. And we were both laughing, like, clearly you don't.
No, you don't.
Clearly you don't.
He's talking about suspending habeas corpus.
And then I was like, yo, pull up to the side, and I'm going to ask him to recite me some amendments.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no way, right? But then we were, the rest of the drive, we were talking about bumper stickers and the different types of people you see with bumper stickers. And I was thinking of a story that I wanted to wait to tell you. I totally did one of those things where I was like, I'll just wait to tell it on the podcast. So, and you might already know this. Because this happened while we were still living in Philly.
Okay.
So in Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, there is an area called Kensington, which is well known to be a place where a lot of people use drugs. It's an open air drug market. And
it's also where a lot of conservative influencers roll through in cars to make YouTube videos.
They make YouTube videos.
And point at all the people on fentanyl.
And they look at all these people that are struggling with addiction and, are homeless and sex workers, and it's an open air drug market. People are openly using. The police do not stop certain things because it's overwhelming, I believe.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not going to get into that. But so one of the situations of Kensington is that there are people that live there.
Yeah.
There are people that own their homes and rent there, and there are children and families that live there.
Yeah.
And so they're living with this happening in their streets. And there's one block of Kensington where a lot of sex workers would be hanging out.
Okay.
And so cars would pull over to do small business, whatever you want to call it. And the locals got really tired of these cars showing up because they would double park. And I need to tell you something about Philadelphia. We fucking hate a double parker.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're buying drugs, but are you double parking in front of my house?
Yeah, you're blocking a 1-lane road.
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So the people are double parking. They're parking overnight and leaving their cars. So then people are coming home from work and can't park their car. Again, parking.
Parking in Philadelphia is a whole... There's literally a show called Parking Wars that's about Philadelphia. And in it, somehow, the edit's so good of that show that the PPA somehow is the good guy. Which,
crazy.
It's insane. The Philadelphia Parking Authority, the meter maids are the good guys in the show, which is... Anyone who's lived there is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But we watch it and you're like, no, but she's right on this one.
On this one, she's right.
On this one, she's right. So, like, parking became such a issue
yes,
with the way that
Kensington.
In Kensington, with the way that these people that were partaking in small business ownership, I don't know how to describe this.
They're Johns.
The Johns.
Yeah.
These Johns were pulling up. So what the neighbors did is they made bumper stickers that said, I got a blowjob on Kensington Ave. Basically on it. And so when they would see these cars double parked or in their parking spots, they would slam it. They'd walk up not slam it. They would lightly just put it on the back of the car while the guy's still in there doing business. And they'd put it. And so when this guy drives home to fucking Cinnamonson, New Jersey, his wife is going to come out and be like, what the fuck's that bumper sticker say? I got a blowjob in Kensington?
Yeah.
I got a blowjob on Emerald Street? On Diamond Street?
Which honestly, also for the wife, it's like, yeah, you need to know that.
Yeah.
Because God knows what he's bringing home with him.
Exactly.
And it's like, this is so fucking crazy.
But yeah, so bumper stickers are a way that these neighbors came together to stop a parking issue, very specifically.
Wow. Well,
and I wanted to tell you that in the car when we were laughing at this I Love the Constitution bumper sticker, but I said, no, hold that for the podcast because it will be like, why the fuck?
Do you guys hear that? I hope you listeners hear that. And I hope that if you are impressed by how Mrs. P is saving content, I'm
ruining our marriage.
Our marriage is crumbling. So if you want to support Mrs. Pearlmania in helping to keep the podcast going, and maybe our marriage, who knows?
Yeah.
Please join us over at pearlmania500.net and join the $5 team lead level.
Please join
or any of the others. Join our Patreon over there. Now, let me get back to one last thing about Elon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You thought you were going to get out of there.
I thought I was getting out of there.
You were like, no, we're done with Elon.
Yeah.
Fuck you. No, we're never done.
Okay.
Elon. And then we'll get into your thing. Elon, so that day, he spent May 20th, the whole day, 24 hours, media blitz. I'm not doing politics anymore. I'm not spending money. He's also being sued, by the way. Mm-hmm. Elon's being sued because, do you remember during the presidential election, he went out, and he did this in Wisconsin, where he's like, sign my pledge. Come sign my pledge. And then I will give you $47. And my pledge is that you're going to vote for Donald Trump. And then if you bring in somebody else, I'll give you $100.
Ooh.
And sign this thing. And it was clearly, people tried suing over. I don't know how the fuck it was considered legal.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact of infinite money glitch.
Yeah.
Infinite money glitch for laws where they're like, we can just keep this going.
Yeah, just keep the lawsuit going.
Just running out the clock. Oh, look, we won. I guess now you're not going to bring it up anymore. If they had lost, he would still be in court.
But they lost in 20 years from appeals. Yeah.
So in this case, he's being sued over that and all these other different things. And so he was like talking about, I'm not gonna spend these monies anymore, because they were talking about, like, in Pennsylvania, there's Supreme Court races coming up. He was talking about doing that again.
Yeah.
And there's all this different shit. Well, that's May 20th.
Sure. Today is currently the 22nd.
Today we're recording this on the 22nd. On the 21st, yesterday.
Okay.
The president of South Africa came to the White House.
Oh.
He had a meeting with Donald Trump.
Yes.
For trade, but also to talk about this whole, hey, why do you guys keep saying that we're doing a white genocide?
Yeah.
And he's like, this is fucking crazy. And I want you to know something.
Okay.
That guy, Elon Musk, who said that he wasn't involved in government anymore.
Sure.
In the fucking room.
Oh.
He's in the Oval Office.
Sure.
He was standing there silently, staring daggers through the president of South Africa.
Well, yeah, 'cause he probably hates that guy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump gave the entire game away in this moment.
I saw that the president of South Africa was like, sorry, I didn't bring you a plane.
Yes. And Trump was like,
clip.
you should have. Yeah, because, listen, the Qatari...
Oh, we gotta watch another clip.
Yeah, it's the last clip. It's the last clip. Listen.
Unless I'm reacting to this clip.
But no, exactly. We're reactionaries now. Okay, this is Donald Trump sitting next to the president of South Africa.
Okay.
In the Oval Office. And again, they're surrounded by press.
Yeah, a lot of press.
Okay, ready?
I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars, okay? Yes. He likes that better. He likes that subject better. That's right. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But
Jesus Christ. What? God, he's such a babbling fool.
Yeah, but also, Elon wanted this.
Yeah.
Particular.
Yeah.
This particular meeting. This whole thing with the Afrikaner refugees.
Yeah.
This whole thing with changing Grok to push the white genocide bullshit. This whole thing. Elon wanted this. And when he's talking about, I have many other friends who are South African. He's talking about Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
He's talking about others. They had this whole delegation of people from South Africa who are black and white. Mm-hmm. The president of South Africa is black, but they had another member of the South African government who's a white guy who's like, yeah, there's crime in South Africa. Farm attacks happen, but they happen statistically to black people more because there's more black people.
Yeah.
And then another guy who was the richest billionaire in South Africa was there. And he's also like, yeah, this white genocide, like what you're talking about isn't real.
Yeah.
And then Trump put on a video that he's like, no, look, here's proof. And he put on a video, and it was some weird boomer AI video that they pulled from somewhere, and that like literally the president of South Africa is like, I don't know, where did this come from? What are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And like, it's some weird Facebook compilation because everyone is brain rotted.
Oh my God, no, we need to get young people in office.
Who actually are media literate.
Oh my God, we can't have people that fall for AI on Facebook, running the government. That's
well,
no.
that is who we have. If they aren't, you know who doesn't fall for AI in the government?
Okay, who?
The congressman who died of old age.
Oh,
That's the order. It's like, hey.
Listen.
What?
This is supposed to be an uplifting comedy history podcast.
Okay. So that means that we need to add in some history.
Yeah. It's
okay.
Super
Maybe
uplifting.
some comedy.
Oh, no.
Okay, how about this?
Oh no.
We'll take a break.
Okay.
And we come back. You can tell me some history that's uplifting.
No.
Are you ready for that?
No, I didn't know we were going to.
You didn't know that's what you had to do? Well,
no.
when I said I think I want to talk shit on Elon, you should have known that uplift needs to come right behind there because somehow we covered a lot in this. Okay?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
We covered the 5th Elon mint. There's an app for everything these days, Mrs. P.
Yep.
You know there's an app now for every fast food company?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, and you know why there's an app for it? So that way you can actually get the deals because fast food has been getting more expensive when you go directly to the store.
Oh, right. The coupons are on the apps.
Yeah. You know why the coupons are on the apps?
No.
Because that way they can collect your data and then they can sell it as a secondary revenue stream.
Oh my God.
Which means that data brokers are getting even more access to everyone's information that they can then put together and sell to anyone for a low price all across the internet, which is why we are partnered with Delete Me to protect more of our listeners. You can use the promo code joindeleteme.com/Pearlmania20 and you can get 20% off a subscription with Delete Me. Delete Me is a service that helps you go through and delete your information from data brokers across the internet. Protect yourself, your family, your address, your phone number, and even more. Go to joindeleteme.com/Pearlmania20. Save 20% today. Mrs. P, something happened recently that you've been excited about.
Okay, so what happened was I went away for the weekend with my family.
Yeah.
And when my family and I are together, it's like a room full of Cliff Clavins.
Yeah.
We're just trying to randomly spout knowledge at each other to see who has the most interesting fact.
Real quick.
Yeah.
You keep saying yelling Cliff Clavin. And it's a crazy thing that you've been yelling because number one, I never watched Cheers like that. It's the postman from Cheers.
Yeah, he's the mailman from Cheers.
He's the mailman from Cheers who sat next to Norm.
Yes, who recently passed away.
He
RIP.
just died.
Sorry. I said passed away.
No, died.
No.
Why?
Come on.
Why?
Died is for like senators that you don't like.
Congressman.
Congressman.
Okay.
Passed away is for beloved actors from hit TV shows like Cheers.
He was also in Santa Paws. You didn't know that?
No,
Norm from Cheers?
I didn't know it was
He
the
played
saxophone.
Norm from Cheers played a depressed Santa Claus in the movie Santa Paws, which is part of the Airbuds universe.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because inside the Airbuds universe, the Air Buddies need, because that's Airbuds children,
Okay.
his pups.
Yeah.
Are known as the Air Buddies, and they are best friends, and they have to believe in a Santa Claus. So Santa Paws is Santa Claus for dogs.
I can't even say why you know this.
I know. It's your fault.
So anyway, Cliff Clavin was the mailman, and basically every time they would shoot the show, they're sitting at the bar, they're talking about stuff, and Cliff Clavin would be like, well, that the volcanoes in Hawaii, but it was just like he would have a random piece of knowledge.
However, I want to push back a little bit. He was always wrong.
Yeah.
That was the joke, is that he had all these different things because he would learn it from stuff like Reader's Digest.
Yeah.
He didn't listen to incredible podcasts like Too Many Tabs.
Yeah.
Where he get into deep dive issues and topics and learn interesting facts that he could then share with his friends, family, and coworkers.
Well, the reason it's still kind of the good term is because I don't know if you ever met family, but many family get their knowledge from a random Facebook post they saw, or a thing they saw on the side of a bus stop. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you always have to fact check these things that
You
people
should.
tell you.
And the best way to fact check them is by joining us at pearlmania500.net. I'm going to get the promo in.
I bet you are.
Okay.
So anyway, I was telling my brother about Milquarius.
Yes.
Because I don't even know how we got on the topic, but I was like, oh, you would love Milquarius.
Yes.
And he said, I'm sorry, what did you just say to me? And then I elaborated that I had done a podcast research episode about the many caves of cheese that live in America because of the dairy industry, and that during my research, I ended up finding out about Milquarius, and it's one of our wonderful episodes. Go back and find it if you haven't listened to it.
It's the Cheese Cave episode.
The Cheese Cave episode. And my brother was like, I don't believe you. And I said, let me show you a video. And then making someone watch that video is such a fun experience.
You made him watch the Milquarius rock opera was paid for by the Dairy Farmers Association of America
to try to get kids to drink more milk.
Try to get kids to drink more milk in the early 2000s.
Yeah. And so he thought that was so funny. And then he decided, I believe, I don't know if any of his friends listen to this podcast. I don't think they do.
I don't think so.
But everyone on his D&D campaign, he's writing a D&D campaign in which at some point all the travelers are going to end up at a movie theater, and they have to watch a movie to get clues about their next move, and it's going to be the Milquarius rock opera as a way to force his friends to sit through it.
Speaking of bad movies, real quick, shout out to the God Awful Movies podcast. We were just on there as guests.
Yeah.
Where we had to watch a bad
so much
movie.
Fun. But except for the part where we're watching the movie.
No,
that was not
the
fun.
movie was terrible, but the guys were great.
Yeah.
And we had a really great time on the podcast. We watched a movie called Acquitted by Faith with Casper Van Dien. It was a terrible movie. Milquarius is a better movie. Also shorter. Also has an actual plot, unlike Acquitted by Faith. So
anyway, after we got done talking about Milquarius, my brother, I don't know how, the thing is, I don't know how this conversation go. Just like our podcast, it's like we're all just kind of talking and things are coming up and going.
Well, that's how natural conversations work. You're enjoying yourselves. One person jumps in, the other person's out. And then a husband steps in and tries to recontextualize everything because he hasn't heard his own voice.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we were missing.
Yeah.
That's what we were missing up there in the Poconos. Is that there is a town, he told me there's a town in Canada called Asbestos because it has the most asbestos.
Wait, there's a town, okay. There's a town in Canada called Asbestos. What is it, Asbestos, Canada?
It's Asbestos, Quebec.
Okay, so it's French Canadian on top of that.
Yeah.
So there's a French town in Canada.
Yeah. So my brother says, oh, yeah, there's a town in Canada that's full of asbestos. And guess what they named it?
What?
Asbestos. And I said, I don't believe you.
That would be like if Philadelphia was just called Gray Sweatpants.
It should be.
Welcome to Gray Sweatpants, Pennsylvania.
Yep, facts. Okay, so then of course as soon as I got home, I was like, that's such an interesting thing. I need to research it. And I did. And it was like a very classic too many tabs situation where suddenly I had many tabs open on my laptop and I was like, where, how, huh? And so I felt I needed to tell you all about Asbestos Quebec.
Okay. Let's call it Asbestos Canada.
Okay.
Because to me, that's even funnier.
Okay.
It's a funnier way of laying it. Mm-hmm. But tell me all about this town.
Well, first I want to tell you, for clarity's sake, a little bit about asbestos.
Okay. Can I tell you what I know about asbestos?
Okay.
Mesothelioma.
Yeah, that's
all I know, because when I was younger and I'd be home watching the daytime TV, you'd be watching The Price is Right, or you'd be watching some of the local like lower channels that like sucked and have like an old rerun on, or Judge Judy.
Oh,
there would always be a thing that would pop up and they'd be like, did you get mesothelioma from asbestos? You can join our class action lawsuit. It was that and vaginal mesh.
Yep.
Those were the two that I always remember being. And I remember one day being like, what is mesothelioma? And then I looked it up and found out that you can get it from asbestos, because like asbestos does like a little tickle in your lungs that turns into this form of cancer.
Okay.
And then I was like, what is vaginal mesh?
I was about to say, did you
And
Google that?
I just closed the laptop.
No, too many
I
tabs
was like,
on that
I don't
one.
want to know.
No.
I got to a certain point. I went, nope. And I just backed the fuck. I backed out of the room. It was, you know what? It was the Simpsons meme again. Yeah. It was when Grandpa walks into the bordello, puts his hat down, sees Bart, turns back around, grabs his hat, and whistles on his way out the door. That's exactly what I did when it came to vaginal mesh.
So, the way that asbestos is formed, okay, I'm gonna take it all the way back.
Okay.
Asbestos is formed through volcanic activity.
Oh.
It's concentrated in veins. So it kind of looks like blue cheese. Like the veins go through the rock.
Okay.
Okay. Basically, when there's volcanic activity, it cools in a specific way and these veins are formed, and that is asbestos.
Got it.
It's mined in the same way as iron, lead, and copper are. However, when it's crushed... when iron and lead are crushed, they turn to dust. But when asbestos is crushed, it turns into small fibers that are too small to be seen by the human eye. In this form, asbestos presents a huge health risk for humans called chrysotile, right? These chrysotile, these tiny particles, can easily become airborne and inhaled, leading to a large variety of respiratory illnesses.
Like mesothelioma.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's number one.
It's number one.
Yeah, the mesothelioma and cancer and all those things are the number one thing.
All right.
So
that might be the comment at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Mesothelioma is number one.
No.
I just want to see people try to spell it.
That's the trick.
Just so you guys, for the listeners who don't know, if you've never made it to the very end of an episode, if you bailed out early, you won't know that we tell people secret comments to write down.
Secret comments. So if you ever look at the comment section, you're like, why do people keep saying that?
Yeah, why does everyone just keep writing red velvet cupcake on the last episode? It's because of me. Because we said, Grok, is this true?
Grok, is this true?
Right.
So, Asbestos Canada is it was the home of the world's largest asbestos mine, called the Jeffrey Mine. It has a name, the Jeffrey Mine.
And the thing about asbestos is asbestos was used as a fire retardant. It was made to be put in a lot of buildings and stuff like that. We're like, hey, we don't want these buildings to burn down.
Yeah.
So they would line walls with asbestos.
Ceilings,
all that different stuff. A lot of schools.
Yeah, a lot of schools.
A ton of schools
filled with asbestos.
It was a huge thing. And so when you have older buildings, especially stuff that was built in the 30s through the 70s, I think. When they were tearing down or renovating parts of them, they had to shut it down and bring in hazmat teams in special breathers to remove this stuff because it was so popular. It was used in fucking everything.
It was used in everything. Because
tiles could be asbestos.
And asbestos has been used since ancient times. The Romans used it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I don't know if I put this in my research, but again, this was part of it. I was like, wait, what? It's like they called it like a firestone because you can put a pot made of asbestos in a fire and it won't catch fire.
Oh.
So it was a good way to cook things, but again, they didn't know.
Well, they also used lead in their pipes.
Yeah, they were big in the danger minerals.
You know what? That was one of those empires where they're like, we're just going to try a little bit of everything. And then later we're like, wow.
Well,
we should base all of our racists on this.
Yeah.
It's just every fascist should have a guy who eats from asbestos pots and drinks lead
just
water.
Swims in dirty water with his family.
No,
and
the
then
water
runs-
was clean.
Well, no, I was talking about RFK swimming in that dirty water.
Yeah. Well, that's well, okay. There's Maha fascists. They're different than the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, I see.
I'm talking about the people who love to use a white marble statue and then yell, be like, "Oh,
Look what they've taken from us.
the wokes made brutalist architecture." No, that's capitalism, buddy.
Okay, all right. So the Jeffrey Mine was open until 2012.
The what? 13 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's when it finally
This asbestos
officially
mine.
Yeah, it was officially closed in 2012.
When did it open?
I don't know if I have that in front of me.
Was it like in the 19 something?
Yeah, in the 19-somethings.
Okay.
Also,
Doesn't that make everybody feel old?
in the
Hold on, just real fast. Back in the 1900s, it was open. That could mean anywhere from 1901 to 1998.
I was thinking 97.
97, nice.
Open your laptop real quick.
Okay, open it
So I put a picture in our Google Doc.
Okay.
Of this mine was actually a tourist attraction.
Shut up.
People used to go visit. Okay, this was like a big deal. So they would go to this asbestos mine.
Oh, it's like a strip mine.
Yeah.
It's not a hole in the ground. It's just that. So okay. So it's a big pit. Mm-hmm. It's a giant pit, and then it's like layers. It almost looks like a terrace garden.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's filled with water.
Yeah, because of the rain and because it's a hole.
And because it's a hole.
It's a big old hole.
But yeah, so people would travel to go to see this Jeffrey mine with the most asbestos. And again, they're breathing that air.
Yeah. And it's just up, and they're walking around, and it's kicking up.
Yes,
into
exactly.
Dust. Oh my god.
And they're actively mining it, so it's in the air.
Oh my god. Okay.
So the Jeffrey mine provided half of the world's supply of asbestos at one point, and made Canada the world's largest asbestos exporter by the 1970s. The industry delivered shipments valued at over $230 million Canadian, which I adjusted for inflation, which is $1.35 billion Canadian.
$1.35 billion Canadian. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's how much asbestos they were selling.
That's so wild.
When the truth came out about the dangers of asbestos it became very real about the dangers.
Yeah.
The mine closed and the whole town shut down. Because obviously everything in the town was built around this mine.
And made of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I would be surprised if everybody lived in an asbestos house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's asbestos. Oh, it's the best thing that could ever happen.
It's super
to us.
cheap right here. You
Yeah.
can get as much as you want.
Yeah. It's all millennial gray though. It's all millennial gray.
Oh my
and
God.
every outlet has been landlord painted.
Yep.
Yeah.
The link between asbestos and health problems started being recognized with the first documented case of asbestos-related disease in 1924. Okay? It was in the 1930s that researchers began to definitively link asbestos to cancer. By the 1950s, the link between asbestos exposure and serious respiratory diseases, including cancer, was firmly established. So they knew in the 20s. Mm-hmm. By the 60s, they were like, yeah, this could be a problem.
Oh,
this
okay.
could be a problem.
Yeah.
But here's what happened. I found out that they actually knew way before that.
Really?
But because no one listens to women, except for the listeners of this podcast who listen to me. So the first person to raise alarm bells about asbestos was a woman in England named Lucy Dean Streatfeild. She was a nurse, a social worker, a union organizer, a suffragette, and one of the first women appointed justice of the peace and a licensed factory inspector. So
Okay.
this woman was busy, and she was
Yeah.
about that life.
Yeah.
Okay? In 1898,
1898.
In 1898, during her appointment as an inspectorate, Dean was one of the first people in the UK to warn of the harmful effects of asbestos, writing that asbestos occupations were to be observed, quote, on account of their easily demonstrated danger to the health of workers and because of ascertained cases of injury to bronchial tubes and lungs medically attributed to the employment of the sufferer, the evil effects of asbestos dust have also instigated a microscopic examination of the mineral dust by the medical inspector, clearly revealed that there was sharp glass-like jagged natures of the particles, and where they are allowed to rise and to remain suspended in the air of the room in any quantity, the effects have been found to be injurious, as might have been expected.
Yeah, because so what she's saying is she's like, the air is full of invisible glass. And everyone's like, shut up, lady.
Yeah. And so that was in 1898. And again, nobody said that this was a firm link until 1960.
And I want to point out, in 1898, Canada was still it's part of the British Dominion.
Yeah.
But it was a British colony. Like openly, it was just a British colony and completely under British control.
Yeah.
And so this is around. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Incredible woman, not listened to.
But also this, I'm going to push back a little bit because
Yeah.
this is one of those things, much like, I love to give the RFK people shit.
Yeah.
And the Maha people. But it's much like that, where it's like somebody comes forward, they have experience with this, and then an industry, I'm sure, comes forward and goes, nah, we don't have enough proof. Gotta do some more studies on this. I mean, come on. Yeah, okay, sure. A lot of our football players commit suicide because they got too many hits. That doesn't mean that there's a medical problem.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that there's any association between two things.
But also, it's one of those things where 1898, we're in the realm of people getting more used to the idea of stuff that's so small we can't see.
Yeah.
Whether it be germs or bacteria, microscopes, all these different things is one thing. The idea of particles being suspended in the air, that's a little bit different. The fact that it's like microscopic glass is crazy. But what I'm thinking of immediately makes me think about the fact that there was recently here in America, actually I think here in like our region, there was some people who got injured. They were working at a countertop factory. And it's like a special silica countertop that has become very common.
Yeah.
When you cut it, which you have to cut it for these custom countertops, it sprays into the air, and that is very similar to asbestos. And so you had all these people, many of which were immigrants, who moved to the United States, who got the jobs in this factory, had lung injuries due to the fact that they were unmasked or the air wasn't regulated as well. And when they're using these saws to cut it, these power saws, it's just spraying microdust everywhere. And again, they're sucking it in, but which is, again... the anti-maskers who would then mix in with the RFK people, be like, well, no masks, though.
No masks.
But I mean, yeah, that's just fucking crazy.
It's insane. So the mayor of Asbestos, Canada, started talking about changing the name of the town in 2012. And he got a lot of pushback.
When they got rid of the mine.
Well, the Jeffrey mine is still there.
No, I'm saying, but they closed it. I'm saying, but they're, okay, it's one of those things where they're like, hey... we still have a hole.
Yeah.
We're just talking about how it's a hole now.
Yeah.
We're putting out, you want to come see our big hole? We're not like, you want to see where all the asbestos is from.
So the mayor starts floating this idea of changing the name because he's thinking about it in a marketing way, about like getting visitors to come back. How do they revitalize the town?
Yeah.
And one of the issues they were having is like people would see like trucks that said like Asbestos Canada on it and be like, hey, whoa. Like,
well, yeah, every time you turn on the TV, it's like mesothelioma caused by asbestos. Every time they see somebody touching asbestos, they're dressed like the Outbreak movie.
Yep.
I'm not going to go on vacation there.
So he's like, we're getting a lot of bad press, right? But the thing is, the people of the town, the residents, don't give a shit. Like they don't care about the bad press because internally they don't call it asbestos. It's Quebec. So they speak French. And the French word for asbestos is amiante. So they call it amiante Quebec. And they say, oh, the amiante mine. And so they don't associate asbestos with the deadly mining leftovers. They're like, oh, that's amiante. That's the problem, not asbestos. So like there's this thing where the locals are like, no, it's fine. We got to keep our name. That's our name. They don't see the bad press because when they're having a conversation about, oh, his lungs got hurt by the amiante, not his lungs got hurt by asbestos.
God,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the one guy's like, no, it's concussions that are causing the CTE. And the other guy's, no, it's when your bell gets rung.
Yeah.
That's the argument. No, his bell got rung too many times. It's like, concussions.
Yeah.
No, his bell got rung. He took a bad hit.
So anyway, eventually, the townspeople, the people that live there, the residents, they do have a vote.
Yeah.
On October 19th, 2020, 51.5% of voters chose the name Val des Sources, which translates to Valley of the Springs, in the third round of a preferential ballot.
Okay. So they had ranked choice.
Yeah, they had ranked choice.
Okay.
3 rounds and 51%, which, by the way, that's pretty tight.
It's pretty
Honestly,
tight.
pretty tight. Some residents remained opposed to the name change, actually organized a petition to deny its approval on the grounds that not enough of the town's residents participated in the referendum. And which is funny because the town's population is 7,096 people. Mm-hmm. And so if like a bunch of people out of 7,000 didn't vote, then like they kind of have a point.
Yeah.
But also if your number is at 7,096, like get the vote turnout. Babes.
Yeah. You should
get on the door
higher.
knocking.
Yeah. But also, I'm thinking about the fact that here's why I don't think it should have been changed.
Okay.
Because now, over the next few decades, people are like, oh, we're going to go to the Valley of the Springs for our holiday.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, where all the asbestos is?
Well, it's not in the air anymore.
Okay, well, I mean, you can tell me that all you want.
Oh, you want to know some crazy fact?
What?
When I was researching it, so after they closed the mine, obviously there was this... they tried to revitalize the town, and they succeeded in a lot of ways.
Okay.
People needed jobs.
Yeah.
And one company was a fucking microbrewery. There's always a goddamn microbrewery when you're trying to rebuild up something.
Of course.
And
let me guess. Downtown, it's a microbrewery. There's an axe throwing place. And they're next to each other.
Probably next to each other.
Yeah.
But so this brewery opens, and they do all of their IPAs themed around the town's mining history. And so they're like, they all have these French names for mining and stuff, and like the cans have miners on them. And so they're leaning into the fact that this is a mining town, blue collar work. These are our beers we make, these French, I believe they're IPAs, I'm not even kidding. And one of the beers, though, I thought this was crazy. They got the water from the mine because they paid to have testing done, and the water in the mine is completely safe to drink. They got all this testing done, and we're like, no, the water's fine.
Still not going to do it.
And
I'm still not going to do it.
They made beer out of this wine, or not this water, and they sold it as like a very specific Valley of the Springs water.
I don't give a shit. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm looking at them. I don't give a shit.
I know, but it was such a crazy marketing tactic.
I'm legit mad. Because I think it's one of those ones where, yes, asbestos has had its uses and things like that in the past, but once we knew about it, and we knew about all the dangers of it, it would be, I don't know, it just feels like asbestos feels like cigarettes in that way. Yeah. Where it's a thing that we knew early on it caused cancer. Yeah. It was hidden from the public. Yep. They fought against all of the research saying that this clearly does these things because it was a moneymaker. It's an industry. Everyone was like, oh, don't worry about the cancer. What about the jobs? It was like the number one way it stuck around an extra long period of time. It's delicious. And, come on.
You want to take a minute for cigarettes? I got to take a minute.
I miss my boys. I'm going to tell you something. Let me tell you something, Mrs. P. Yeah. I miss my boys.
I know you do.
You
made it out of Italy without a cigarette. I think you can do it.
It was so hard. Italy was the hardest that's ever been. Like in the last coming up on 2 years, actually. We're actually really close to 2 years of me not smoking.
It's crazy.
That has been the hardest. Was when I was in Italy, because the second you would be outdoors, like I want to say, it felt like it was the late 80s. How many people lit up? Yeah. It was just like every time, and it would be like all age groups,
babies,
and then just so many, just everybody. Anyone younger, they were vaping. Yeah. You could see them ripping their vape. They pull out these weird color boxes.
I saw a video of like people doing it in their nose now.
What?
They do the vape in their nose.
They vape the nose?
I don't know. I don't know why people are doing anything.
I miss my boys. I'm gonna just say it. Let me talk about my shit. I just listen.
I don't want you to sit here and reminisce about cigarettes.
I'm not reminiscing
about your best friends.
I'm filling content hours. That's what I'm doing here. All right, the listeners, they're passing the time right now, right? They're driving. Yeah. Maybe they're at a cubicle. Maybe they're folding laundry. Yep. Maybe they get in the comments and tell us what they're doing as they second screen. It's because I know y'all second screen. Thank you so much. But what I'm saying is, I sit around. The thing is like, I remember the last bunch of times at the end when I quit smoking. I remember how I felt. I remember how like my lungs felt dirty. I remember those feelings about like the day after. I remember having the cravings and going, I don't want to go through any of that again. Yeah. However, I miss my boys. You know what it is? It's like hanging out with your bad group of friends.
Yeah.
It's your bad group of friends, but you have some good memories.
Yeah.
And like the good memories I had were like sitting on the porch or like being outside. It's crazy inside at work, but I finally get to step out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
like,
just took a good poop.
Listen, I miss the boys there.
Yeah.
Me and the boys take a big old rip, be like, guys, I'll be right back. I'm only going to get through half of one of you.
Wow.
And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to relight you.
Oh.
Yeah.
That waste not, want not, they say.
Waste not, want not. But, 2 years now. But this asbestos stuff is so funny because also my entire life, because it's been like since the 90s, they really had a big push on like asbestos bad.
Yeah.
If you're near someplace with asbestos, call a specific group to come in. And then like how they dispose the asbestos. But you know what's crazy is actually I did not know it came from a volcano.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I always assumed that the DuPonts did something. Can I tell you? Like I always thought, I was like, no, this had to have been made in a lab.
Yeah.
Because asbestos feels like something. And it even sounds like something. It sounds Asbestos by AstraZeneca. You know what I mean? Like the name is kind of shitty.
Yep.
It has like that little bit to it. The uses of it feels industrial.
Yep.
And again, because it was in all of this stuff that was built in the 30s through the 70s, that's a specific time period where we just like didn't know or we didn't care to look.
I think it's both of those.
A little bit more of those. So there was all these buildings that were old around me growing up that would be getting torn down. They'd be like, it's asbestos. Or it's this thing, or like that whole stream has been poisoned because of this factory, and we didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, you didn't know.
Yeah, the Codex didn't know.
Yeah,
for
exactly,
sure.
exactly.
So the question that came to me after I did all this research was, well, where's the biggest mine now?
Oh, of
because
asbestos.
I kept reading it and it was like, it used to be the biggest mine. And I was like, so then that inherently means there's a bigger mine. And of course there is. Guess where it is?
Utah.
Nope. It's in Russia. And guess what the name of the town is? Asbestos.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Asbestos, Russia.
Yeah.
So the chrysotile, again, that's the stuff in the air, mine, they've done studies in the town and been like, hey, there's peer-reviewed scientific evidence that
Which town?
In Asbestos, Russia.
Okay.
They've had scientists come out and do studies, and they're like, hey, place is pretty detrimental to your health and the health of the local population. And they were just like, no. No.
Yeah.
Putin
says no.
In Asbestos, Russia, there's an open pit mine that is said to be, because again, we're looking at satellite image for most parts, said to be 7 miles long and 1.5 miles wide. So it's half the size of Manhattan. It's half of Manhattan. That's how big the mine is.
Wow.
And it's more than 1,000 feet deep.
And it's just asbestos.
It's just asbestos.
And just spraying it into the air.
Uh-huh.
As they're digging it
And
up.
also the town is like a full town. Like there's like a concert hall, there's stadiums, like
oh yeah, well I'm sure it's a Soviet style town.
Yeah, it's a Soviet style
Yeah,
town.
so they built up the entire thing and they were like, here's all the different stuff that you could have. And because they're like, we need the asbestos because we have to win the Cold War.
Yeah.
And we need it, and also because, it's cold here, so people have a lot more fires.
For years, inmates who were imprisoned at now I am going to butcher this, Bazharanskov Gulag were forced to work in the asbestos industry. Over 15,000 people died due to asbestos-related diseases and lack of clean water in the Gulag that were forced to work in the mine.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a gulag.
It's a gulag.
It's
that's part of gulagging.
That's where Stalin and others would send dissidents.
Yeah.
Or just anyone they just didn't like. And they'd be like, you're going to go to a gulag and you're going to do hard labor. We don't expect you to come. If you come back, shocking.
Yeah.
They still have some of those. They have them in Russia because that's where they sent Navalny.
And Kermit the Frog.
Yes, in the Muppet movie. In the Muppets Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
and Danny Trejo.
Yeah, Danny Trejo's there, and Tina Fey plays the commissar. Wow, I love that. They're like, no, the mine's fine. Who used to do this? Gulag prisoners.
Gulag prisoners. And then the last piece of information that I got from this that I thought was so crazy, so crazy. So let's say we're in our car and we're driving, beep beep, we're driving up to Asbestos, Russia. We're gonna go to the town.
We're not going to.
I'm just saying, like theoretically.
I'm not.
We're in the car.
I'm not in my mind palace.
I'm in your mind palace right now.
No.
And I'm saying you're in the car.
I'm evicting you
Somehow
from my mind palace. You're evicted. I'm locking.
I don't know how we got here.
I'm locking the gates. You're not allowed in my mind palace.
And we get to the gates of the town because there are gates on the towns in Soviet Russia style stuff. And there's a big sign that welcomes you to the town. And it says Asbestos Russia, right? And that's the big sign. And then sometimes towns have like little sayings, right? Sometimes towns have
they have a little
sayings.
slogan.
Ours, when you pull into Philadelphia, it'll say "Welcome to Philadelphia, city of brotherly love."
Yeah.
Asbestos Russia, their slogan says "Asbestos is my town and destiny."
Ugh. Jesus Christ.
I was like, what?
Welcome to Asbestos, the beginning and end of your life.
That's literally what their slogan is.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, so this is what happened. I told my brother about Moquarius, and then I spent 3 days researching asbestos for some reason.
Yeah.
But now I'm here.
Mesothelioma. That's so crazy. You actually taught me a lot on this one.
Thanks.
I had no idea that asbestos was a natural forming thing. What's the other thing that is like that? There's that one poison, arsenic. Not arsenic. No, what's the one?
Real.
What's the one that they put in? That they used to put in the letters. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, like the ones I used to mail?
Yeah, those guys were mailing all the time. It starts with an A, doesn't it? Arsenic, I knew, but what was the one? Anthrax.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's certain things like that where like I don't realize that they're naturally occurring. Yeah. Now they can refine them. Mm-hmm. They can definitely get refined to be made stronger. And I think that's what we did, especially once we got the industrialization of the 40s and 50s and 60s and stuff like that. We're like, oh, we figured out how to make this naturally occurring bad things 10 times worse, 100 times worse.
Yeah.
But like there's certain things where like when I was younger, I just didn't think they naturally occurred. Anthrax, asbestos. Apparently it's all the bad A things.
Yep.
Alex Pearlman. Oh, they're all natural.
Okay, smart guy. Now you have to close the podcast. How are you going to marry Elon Musk and asbestos together?
How am I going to put them together?
Yeah.
They're both terrible for you. And if you have been hurt by either, then you should join a class action lawsuit.
Or our Patreon.
At pearlmania500.net. That's right. That's my Ferengi over there. You know how to do a promo.
It doesn't cost that much latinum to support this podcast.
It does not.
And there's a lot of content on there that is exclusive.
Why don't you tell some people about some of that content that's exclusive?
So number one, we do what's called the warm-up, where before we record this podcast, we spend like 30 minutes getting used to talking to each other again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we have really funny, silly conversations there. It's we call it the parasocial one, right? You have a funny name for it.
It's the Patreon-exclusive Parasocial Pearl Maniac podcast.
How did I not remember that?
I know.
Also, we do Vibing with the Food Idiot.
Yes.
Where I teach you how to cook basic meals sometimes, like mashed potatoes or roast chicken or chocolate chip cookies. Things like that maybe you should know, but you don't know.
I don't.
And so we have a very silly podcast where I teach you how to cook stuff.
But also the last part that you're forgetting about completely.
What's that?
Which is that the show, you get ad-free versions of
the
show.
ads. There's no ads.
Yeah, the ad-free audio version of the show that you can listen to and join the greatest comment section of them all.
The comment section goes
the
hard.
elite Patreon Pearlmania comment section. But yeah, that's all. It's all available for you up there, and we hope you join us. But if you can't make it, that's also fine.
That's fine.
Keep checking out all of our shows. You can find us, like, subscribe, comment. What's the comment gonna be?
Avoid the mines.
Avoid the mines? Avoid the mines, everybody. We'll catch you next week with a whole new episode of Too Many Tabs.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.